Hey guys, welcome to Just Listed, Just Sold. I'm Jessica Miller with the Castle Group discussing all things real estate in Los Angeles. And today I'm bringing you your LA market update and discussing pricing strategies for sellers. If you caught my last video, you probably already know that we are in a hot seller's market, like super hot. Today I'm addressing sellers and pricing because pricing is a key factor in selling a home quickly in any market. Pricing a home properly will get you top dollar while avoiding price reductions. As a mom and realtor, I really know that a house is just, it's more than a building with rooms. It's a home where so many memories are made. It's where your baby takes their first steps, your kids learn to ride their bikes, and numerous birthdays and celebrations, family gatherings happen. A home is where life transpires, and it's a special piece of a family's history. A home is clearly emotional. It's much more than a dwelling. In pricing a home, many sellers have an extremely difficult time pulling the emotion out of the equation. After all, it's worth so much more when you factor in the millions of memories you've made there. But unfortunately, when it comes to selling a home, none of this matters to buyers, and it just doesn't and can't factor into the price. Ultimately, when a home initially comes on the market, the price will determine a seller's success. One of the most crucial steps in being able to sell quickly, open escrow, and obtain the highest possible net proceeds from the sale of a home is to carefully arrive at its fair market value. So yes, the current market is insanely hot, where homeowners are obtaining multiple offers that are remarkably close to their asking prices. In many cases, they're even able to get more than asking price because they're getting multiple offers. Yet in every price range, homes sit without success, leaving sellers wondering what in the world they're doing wrong. 32% of all homes in LA County have been on the market for over 2 months. Despite the hot market, buyers really don't want to pay much more than the most recent closed sale. Given that there is a shortage of homes on the market and that demand is exceptionally strong, buyers are willing to stretch a little bit, but not a lot. Accurate pricing is still fundamental, regardless of the temperature of the housing market, and throwing a price out there just to test the market is an extremely unwise strategy. Ultimately, when the asking prices of homes must be reduced in order to secure offers, it not only takes longer to sell, but sellers end up selling their home for less than just coming into the market at fair value. It's very telling to look at the sales price to last list price ratio. This refers to the final list price prior to opening escrow. These are averages, meaning there are definitely exceptions, but the overall trend is actually stunning. In Los Angeles County, 82% of all closed sales in August did not reduce the asking price at all. The sales to last list price ratio for these homes was 99.5%, so a home sold within 0.5% of the asking price. The data is staggering in looking at the sales price to original list price. This is the price when a home initially comes on the market prior to any reductions. For homes that reduce the asking price between 1% to 4%, the sales to original list price ratio was 94.8%. So as you can see, accurately pricing a home for sale is critical in obtaining the highest and best sales price. Homes that do not have to reduce their price ultimately sell for more and in a lot less time. The amount of market time increases substantially for those that must reduce, and there are a lot of price reductions occurring every week right now in LA. An astonishing 13% of all active listings reduced their asking prices last week in LA County alone. Carefully and methodically pricing a home is vital to cashing in on today's hot seller's market. The first few weeks after coming on the market is the crucial time period with the greatest amount of exposure and heightened buyer activity. This occurs because there are many buyers who have not yet isolated a home, and they're eagerly waiting on the sidelines for something to come on the market that meets their criteria. Every time a home pops on the market, there is a flood of initial activity as potential buyers clamor to be one of the first to take a look. So there is actually more activity in the first 2 weeks of entering the market than any other time when a home is marketed. Especially with the internet, this period is even more important. Most buyers subscribe to a service that allows them to search for a home on the market, such as the MLS via their agent or through Zillow or Redfin. When a home is newly listed that meets their criteria, they are basically sent an email almost immediately, especially if they're working with a realtor with access to the MLS. When sellers overprice their homes and do not properly take advantage of the first few weeks after coming on the market, eventually they have to improve the price through a reduction. Reducing the price to be more in line with a home's fair market value is not met with the same kind of fanfare as a new home coming on the market. The excitement just isn't there anymore. When something is brand new to the market, it's exciting. When something has been exposed to the market for a while, it becomes a little bit shop worn. It loses a little bit of that marketing luster it first started out with. So this is a very clear warning to sellers. Overprice a home and you risk wasting valuable market time and obtaining top dollar for your home. Instead, carefully and methodically arrive at the asking price and achieve the best outcome with the most amount of money. So let's take a look at inventory and demand in Los Angeles. The current active listing inventory increased by 221 homes in the past 2 weeks, which is up about 2% and now sits at 10,400, its highest level of the year. It's actually still the lowest level for September since tracking began in 2012. Autumn is here, but the market is not evolving like the season. Typically during the autumn market, both the overall market downshifts with a drop in both supply and demand. It's not the most advantageous time of year for families to make a move when kids go back to school, so both supply and demand tend to downshift. But this year, demand is dropping while the supply of homes is actually on the rise. That normally occurs during the summer market, but because the spring market was postponed to our summer months due to stay-at-home orders, it makes sense that this summer market is now postponed during the autumn market. But in all of SoCal, this unusual trend is only occurring in Los Angeles. So stay tuned. Let's watch together and see where this trend goes. COVID-19 doesn't seem to be suppressing homeowners from coming on the market. In the past 4 weeks, there were 737 more homes compared to 2019, 10% more. So this is a new trend that's developing, and many homeowners who wanted to sell their home early in the year may have waited due to COVID, and there were 27% fewer for sale signs year over year from March through June. So 9,000 homes roughly that kind of missed the market this year. Orange County is actually the only other county in Southern California where this trend is occurring. So last year, at this time, there were over 13,000 homes on the market, an additional 3,000-ish, or about 29%. There were a lot more choices last year for buyers. Demand did drop by 3% in the last 2 weeks. Demand is measured by the number of new pending sales over the prior month, which decreased by 3% or 223 pending sales. So it seems like demand may have peaked about 2 weeks ago here in LA. With all the distractions of school, it's not as advantageous of a time for families to sell. The autumn market has grabbed a hold of the market a little bit. So expected downshift in demand, and it should pick up again after the elections. Demand is still booming due to low interest rates, but it's still slowing nonetheless. Last year, demand was actually 20% lower than today. So in the past 2 weeks, the expected market time increased from 45 to 48 days. A hot seller's market. Anything less than 60 days is a hot seller's market. So sellers continue to call the shots during negotiations, and home values are on the rise. Last year, the expected market time was at 77 days, so clearly slower than today. Let's take a quick look at luxury before I run through a few more numbers in the LA housing market. The luxury market is starting to slow with a downshift in demand. In the past 2 weeks, demand for homes above 1.5 million increased by 5%. It appears as if the auto market is grabbing hold of the luxury market. Even so, luxury demand is still elevated and quite robust. The luxury home inventory increased by 1% over the past 2 weeks, with a slight drop in demand and a rise in supply. The overall expected market time for homes priced above 1.5 million increased from 118 to 124 days in the past couple of weeks. Despite the increase at 124 days, luxury remains solid and pretty fast. Year over year, luxury demand is up by 397 pending sales, or 82%. The active luxury listing inventory is down by 25 homes or 1%. The expected market time last year was 227 days, so clearly slower than today. For homes priced between 1.5 to 2 million in the past 2 weeks, the expected market time remained unchanged at 73 days. For homes priced between 2 to 3 million, the expected market time increased from 102 to 109 days. For homes priced between 3 to 4 million, the expected market time increased from 126 to 146 days. For homes priced above 4 million, the expected market time increased from 312 to 356 days. Though that amount of time would actually put those sellers into escrow in September 2021. Kind of crazy. So, quick recap of the Los Angeles market over the last 2 weeks. The expected market time for all of LA County increased from 45 to 48 days. A hot seller's market. Anything less than 60 days. We were at 77 days this time last year. For homes priced below 750,000, the market is firing on all cylinders, honestly. The expected market time is 29 days. This range represents 34% of active inventory and 55% of demand. For homes priced between 750 and a million, the expected market time is 41 days, still clearly a hot seller's market, and that represents 16% of inventory and 18% of demand. A lot of people ask about distressed properties, assuming that today's market reflects what we saw in 2008. So again, it's important to note that this is a different type of recession. However, these stats are not looking at forbearance necessarily. If you want to know more about forbearance, which is a very interesting subject, please let me know and I will gladly do a video answering any questions you have. Currently though, in the distressed market, both short sales and foreclosures combined made up only 0.6% of all listings and 0.7% of demand. There are only 40 foreclosures and 22 short sales available to purchase in all of LA County. So 62 total distressed homes on the active market, down 9 in the past 2 weeks. Last year, there were 141 total distressed homes on the market, so clearly more than today. There were just under 6,000 closed residential resales in August, down 4% from last year. August marked a 4% rise over July, and the sales to list price ratio was 98.8%. Foreclosures accounted for 0.4% of all closed sales, and short sales accounted for 0.3%. That means 99.3% of all sales were good old-fashioned sellers with equity. I know I just ran through a ton of information. If you have any questions about the current state of the housing market, please let me know in the comments below or shoot me a private message. As usual, I'm always here for you. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I hope this information is empowering and useful. If you do like this video, please share with your friends and family. It's a great way to let me know you like it. Thanks again, guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.